Joining me in studio is the Midwest chair for the Victory Fund, Ken Mejia Beal. And when I mentioned who we were having on the show, Ken's face lit up because we have on the line with us Democratic nominee for the Michigan House of Representatives, District 2, Southeastern Michigan, Joanna Whaley. Am I saying your name correctly? First of all, I should have asked that.
You nailed it. You nailed it. Way to go.
Excellent. So this is exciting. You've got, well, let me ask you about yourself. Where did you grow up, my friend?
Well, I grew up, born and raised here in the state of Michigan, had a couple stops around the country. But yeah, I grew up here, and I'm really looking forward to serving my community here come November.
Well, congratulations on winning the primary. And you're not running on a slogan. You're running on your utility bill, your grocery bill, whether you can see a doctor without going broke. First, you are a hospital chaplain. So tell me a little bit about your background. And, when you were growing up, it sounds like you were surrounded by the sense of wanting to serve people, to care for them.
Yeah, well, we buried the lead a little bit here. So for those who are listening, I'm a trans woman, and I did what every aspiring trans woman does and hopes to be. I became an evangelical pastor at the age of 17.
As you do.
As you do.
As you do.
And
yeah.
So I had this long career within religious spaces. But about 5 years ago, I got outed by someone in my congregation, fired from my job, and had to figure out what to do, where to pick up my life, where to go. And that's when I discovered clinical spiritual care, and ended up working in our area local hospitals. Got a degree, and was off to the races from there.
Man. Okay. So were you raised evangelical?
I was raised Catholic. So,
okay.
My grandmother grieved when I left for a rock and roll church. And then I grieved for being in the rock and roll church for after many years after being out of it.
Yeah, that's just heartbreaking, and yet, I mean, just the energy behind people just wanting to hurt others. Like, I mean, that's got to be just challenging. I mean, for everybody, but also in a situation where it's been politicized to a degree that is incomprehensible to me. It really isn't. Ken and I were talking about this earlier. He says that our brains are too big. That's why we can't understand hatred.
I think our brains are. I think if your brain is too big, hatred you will never grasp it the way someone with a small brain does.
Well, I'm definitely taking that one with me. Yeah, and I think an important part of the story is, in that 20 years of being in pastoral roles, I endured 15 years of Christian conversion therapy.
Oh, boy.
And in that. And that was all when it was legal here in the state of Michigan. And thankfully, those laws have changed. We still have some way to go. And I do look forward to being a part of making some of those rules and laws a little more tough here in the state of Michigan.
Thank you.
And you mentioned that we buried the lead. How do I put this? For me, I wouldn't say I don't introduce somebody as being my a black guest or a male guest, or I'm saying, so a trans, so I don't know necessarily, like I get clumsy with Ken will tell you I get clumsy with a lot of things, I have to say.
I'll tell you off air. I'm just joking. Patty's great.
So because we actually welcome we host the only trans radio host in the country. We have
we do.
Ellie Krug is on Saturdays, and when Ellie interviewed me, she asked me when did I become an advocate, and I remember being not an advocate, not like I don't know the opposite. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
I've never thought these aren't like everyone deserves to have an advocate.
Right.
To be an ally. Right. Everyone deserves an ally, and I'm not unless you're hateful. The only intolerance I have, Joanna, I can't tolerate the intolerant. I'm
the
same boat.
That's really where it is. That's how I am.
Yeah, and when you get into politics, you enter into a space where you have to navigate a lot of intolerance. And I try to have some grace in that space for folks, and maybe that is my pastoral training and background.
It is.
I come from, I was in the Christian evangelical right-wing space, right? I had a pastor who said, you cannot be a Christian and a Democrat, right? Or else you'll go to hell. Like that is, I had a pastor say that.
Right.
But to allow myself to evolve away from that was really important work. And there were people along the way that opened that space for me. So I'm glad that I had folks willing to let me ask the dumb questions along the way, and I try to do that as well, especially as I'm, not that they're dumb questions, but ask the questions that feel like, oh, that's not how I would word it, right? But just to open that space for folks to say, yeah, like you may not agree with who I am, but I'm going to allow you to ask your questions in this space.
Because from the inside, there isn't, for me, it just seems so exhausting. We all have our level of having to questions about things. Like, for example, I have a child with disabilities, right? So when people stare or they, say rude things, whatever, I sort of have I have
There's
the same
a wall.
thing. There's a wall. Oh, I hit walls, but
I hit too.
Yeah. And so I understand your idea about grace. Like there are times when I'll try to indulge somebody who has questions.
Yes.
And then I hit a wall. Exactly.
I hit the wall.
So, your very existence and how do you manage having to answer questions or try to, what I'm saying is it's always having to educate people is what it feels like, which is a lot of work.
And as I step into this role, I understand that there are many folks that it is not the responsibility of LGBTQ people to educate others.
Correct.
But I do understand that stepping up to be a lawmaker, I am going to be stepping into spaces where I am doing a lot of education, and I'm willing to take that role on for folks that might be trying to do the research, but they don't have, they're looking in spaces that their algorithms are feeding them, right? So we have to make sure that, that we have people stepping into those gaps to say, I'm going to teach you from my point of view.
Right.
I think that's really important in this time.
I appreciate it. And it makes sense. And also visibility. Ken and I talk about visibility.
Visibility is important.
We can talk about legislators who've been we have a trans legislator in DC, and I'm trying to remember, Montana also was a big battleground for a trans legislator in the state house.
Yep.
Yeah. And because they the whole idea of being just so gross about bathrooms. Let's not get it.
I can't. Can I just say, and Joanna, you'll get a kick out of this. I was at World Pride in Amsterdam, and it was so hilarious to me. Every establishment I went into in Amsterdam had unisex bathrooms. Like there was no male and it was like, and and everything is fine.
Right.
Everyone made it.
All of our houses have them. So
yeah. It's crazy.
Well, and so I guess all of that was to say that, the issues that you were talking to people about, in addition to having, the conversations that are educational or trying to, gently remind folks that if they're Christian, where does the Bible say that there's any problem with someone's very existence? Don't get me started.
It doesn't.
But you talk about, right. But you talk about how this race is, your messaging is also about how this race is about affordability, not identity. So talk to us a little bit about what's going on in Allen Park or Melvindale right now. What are people telling you at the doors and your events?
Yeah, I like to say that people, especially in this primary, they did not vote for history. They didn't vote for identity. They voted because I'm showing up to do the work, and I'm showing up and speaking about their issues. And who I am is not even a consideration for folks. They want to know, because right now we have this utility company here in the state of Michigan as a monopoly utility called DTE, and they are wreaking havoc on everyone's budgets right now. They continually ask for more and more money, giving us worse and worse product while they slap their names on stadiums, send us mail about how to save money, and just keep, raising our prices while their executives are floating on yachts, right?
Yeah.
Like this is not okay. As we are trying to choose, can I pay for my kids' insulin? Do I have to put the strawberries back in the cart because I just got this bill today, right? That's what people are talking about. They're worried about that. They can't afford this life. And then the other part of it is healthcare. I work in the healthcare industry, right? And we're going to fall off a cliff in healthcare here very soon. Once the big BS bill hits, it's going to be a mess. And so I am advocating for single payer healthcare here in the state of Michigan called MyCare. If we cannot get it passed at the federal level, and my dear friend Abdul El Sayed and a lot of the our folks in DC are trying to move that forward, we're going to do it at the state level if the federal government can't get it together.
This is what I've asked legislators in Springfield about, and they're like, well, there's no energy for it.
There's a lot of energy. The legislators in Springfield that say that are being paid. And I said what I said, and you don't have to say it.
That's what I heard from the legislator that I ran against.
Right there is the issue. These two issues that people in my community are asking for help with, they've had state legislators at the state house and the state senate level who take DTE's money and they take the healthcare industry's money. And
Yes.
guess what? They take their lunches and they get wined and dined by them all the time. I take $0 of their money. I met a healthcare lobbyist yesterday in Lansing, and I pretty much made it clear, like, this is probably our only conversation we're ever going to have, right?
Good.
Because I'm not interested in helping your industry. I'm interested in helping my neighbors be able to afford their life.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is with the area that you're running in, and the kind of labor that folks participate in, and how choices in DC are affecting their lives, their paychecks. What are you hearing from folks about? I'm guessing there are also folks who voted for this who say I voted for this until they're like, wait, I didn't vote for this. Are you getting some of the
buyer's remorse?
FAFO, yeah,
yeah. Are that?
And folks won't. Many voters will not be moved until their pocketbook is hit.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And so what we're living in right now is called, many economists are calling it a K economy. What that means is that the rich are getting richer while the rest of us are doing worse and worse. Right. And so what's happening right now, I mean, you look at most of our sectors, they're being bought up and consolidated. This is something that's really become a problem here in the state of Michigan. We have hospital systems that are continually consolidating. We have all these companies buying each other out. And what they're doing is that they're just cutting jobs and replacing them with part-time contingent jobs. And people cannot find work here. And then you bring in this existential threat of AI. And this hit my community head on in the city of Allen Park. One of these big billionaire corporations tried to bring an AI data center in here and just ram it through. But our community showed up, our campaign organized, and we raised up voices by the hundreds each and every meeting, and eventually got them to withdraw and deny the proposal. And I think that's what it's going to take. It's going to take people saying, enough, you're screwing us. We cannot continue to live like this while our executives are getting more and more and more of our hard-earned money, and you pay us less. And so that's hitting the working class here in the state of Michigan harder than ever, especially in the auto industry, which is why we also have to uphold our labor unions and make sure that people have access to them.
Really a great message, and I love the work that you do both in running for this position for office. But again, we're talking to Joanna Whaley, who is a Democratic nominee for the Michigan House of Representatives. You can go to JoannaWhaley.com. That's Joanna, 2 N's, JoannaWhaley.com. And do you have a preferred social media? Is there
all of them?
All the
Just not
platforms?
X. Forget about
Same,
that.
yeah.
No X.
I let my account lapse there for sure. I
think
agree.
I have like 2 followers on there, so please don't follow me there.
No worries.
Again, Joanna will be the first trans woman elected to the state legislature, and we would love to check in with you again. I want to give you an opportunity to take about a minute or so, whatever you'd like to tell your voters, the people in your community, and those who might be able to support you by visiting your website and contributing money, and ask for their vote, ask for their time, and ask for their money is what I learned when I ran for office. So
let's do it.
So tell folks your vision.
Yeah, and I know many of the listeners may not be living in my district, but if you're hearing my voice, I think you need to know that there are people running for office that we need right now. I'm hearing from all over the state of Michigan, folks saying that they don't feel represented by their representatives, and so I've told them I will be your voice in Lansing, and that is what I hope to see statewide across the country, is that we are electing people who are showing up and being our voice. And to my community, for those who are going to listen to this, just know that I am coming after our utility companies, and I'm going to fight for you to have access to healthcare. I'm going to protect everyone's freedom in the state of Michigan, and we need to make sure we're doing that across the country.
Outstanding. Jay, it was really a pleasure to meet you. I look forward to touching base with you again. And we want to do at least, if not more, but at least once a month. And we'll talk to you in September again after Labor Day.
Thank you to Victory Fund for all their help.
Oh, yeah, Victory Fund. Tell folks about how they can support the work and what you do.
Well, you can go to victoryfund.org /candidate/Joanna-Whaley and find out more information there. And once again, as a campaign chair, supporting people like Joanna is the reason I love doing what what we do at Victory Fund and the campaign world, because we need more Joannas. We need you, Joanna, in every state. And because at the end of the day, it's about making sure folks can pay their bills.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about. There's no that if there is a gay agenda, if there's an LGBTQ agenda, our agenda is making sure that we all can pay our bills. There you go. That's the agenda.
I also, I did an event not too long ago, and I talked about how, like, with that is also that everything really comes from love. At least from the people that I talk to, they want to pay their bills because they love their families. Yes. They want their families to be happy, healthy, and safe. They love their communities. They love their country.
They love eating.
I'm talking about the folks that don't have their hearts filled with hatred.
Got it.
Right. But even the people who do, they're coming from some sort of love.
Yeah, that's true.
So thank you so much, Joanna, for taking on the challenge of running, of being such a fierce fighter for some of the things that I believe in as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And we can't wait to be along for the ride to elect the first trans woman elected to the state legislature of Michigan. Thank you, my friend.